I see it as there are some businesses that are cash only places that if they don't have cash, they can't do sales. And I'm here to help generate that sale. Hello, everyone. This is Franco, Max Cash ATM, with another episode of ATM Talks. Today, I thought it would be a good idea to tell you why I'm doing this and a little bit about my story. I am part of this Facebook group that it's called Startups, that a lot of people have questions in regards to entering into the business or advantages, what to do and what not to do. And I guess I'm just going to tell you my story. I have about 715 machines deployed. Cash dispensed monthly, probably about 3.5. Commissions pay year to date. I don't have that information in front of me, and I do everything via an ACH, so I can't provide that information. Year in the industry, this July is going to be 15 years. In average passive income per location, when I first started, my goal was to do $150 per machine, and then I switched my model to have cash loaders. And once I have a cash loader in place, I am fine and content with $75 a month. Customer retention satisfaction, how oldest my oldest terminal that I have out there, it's a laundromat that I have. My very second customer that I established, he has been with me for going into 15 years this July. Pretty exciting. Thank you to Damien for that. How did I get started in the ATM business? Well, I moved from Dallas to Denver, and there was a need of cash for us. Once we got here, we thought that we were going to do something different. We thought that we were going to be in real estate as an agent, but then there was a route that came for sale. And I asked one of my customers in Dallas, what is it like to have an ATM in her gas station, actually? And she told me all about it. And then I called another guy who was a customer of mine from my previous dwellings or doings, and he said, you can really do this yourself, and my ATM makes about $800. So my goal was to, if I can have some ATMs that produce $150 or more, that would be sufficient for me. At that moment, it was just me and my wife, and our needs were not as big as they are now, of course. But we took the gamble. It was either to purchase a route or to do it myself, and I decided to go and purchase my own machines and do it myself. Got into the phone and started making some phone calls, and actually the very first phone call that I did, they said yes. They said, I want an ATM. And that machine didn't last for long in there. But the second call was a no. And then the third call was a yes. And I just had enough money to have two machines. So that was the start. And it was a great start because that very first phone call was a yes. So I was pretty excited. What drew me into this industry and how has it evolved since I began? Well, what drew me was that I knew the business. I knew the business when I was in banking in Texas. I used to put cash on an ATM in a bank that on the third of the month that ATM will draw about $80,000 in one day, and we did not know how many transactions that did, but it's very simple to do the math. The bank ATM had a cap of I think $500. And people were just wiping it out for benefits. So I thought that would be something that is very doable. There was nothing out of ordinary for me to be able to do that. And again, the need of cash to generate income, as I was not generating income back in 2011. And the next question is, can you describe your current ATM operations, or how many machines and what type of locations? Well, we do business nationwide. And what I decided to do about 9 years ago, I decided to use a lot of cash loaders for my location. So the majority of my machines are cash loaded by a third party. And it's a model that works for some people. For other people, they don't like this structure. But for me, in order for me to grow, since I was being limited to time and I was being limited by monies, was to leverage some other operators' times and cash. And they benefit from it. I benefit from it, and the establishment is always taken care of, and it works out pretty good. I think it's a win-win for everyone. My cash loaders are good to me. I believe that I'm good to them, and we have a great relationship. For the machines that are out of state, we do the same model where I am able to get a contract and I just find a provider out there that will either provide cash and machine or that they will provide just the cash. I like that model because I think they're more involved on it, or they are more hands on it, and that's important for me. Placement and strategy and partnerships. What do you look for when choosing a location for an ATM placement? I look for high traffic volume. I like places that will have either 150 to 200 people walking in by day. That does not happen in some of my locations. That does not happen at a barber shop. That does not happen at a nail salon. But there's a need of cash for those businesses. So I look for a need of cash. My qualifiers would be a need of cash, walking traffic, and if those two add up, they do great. Of course, we like the idea of being in grocery stores, in places that there's a lot of consistency, and a cash only place would be great. But as all of us are looking for those placements, it's a battle that we need to understand how to service that customer and provide them the best offer that we can. What is the most successful placement you ever had? And what made it work? You know what? I think I always go back to that second location that I have with the laundromat. And the reason I think it's successful is because it's still there. It does not make us a lot of money. If we make $150 a month, I think that's what we were averaging there. And of course, we have had machines that make us way more than that. But I define success by still being there, and they are content. They're content with our service, and we are content by being there. So that's always good. Now, how do ATMs operators typically generate income from their machines? Well, we generate income with the products that the ATM machine offers. Of course, the draw of cash is the majority of it. The second part is what we call the value products that the machine will do, from having a foreign card being presented to an extra charge for offering Bitcoin, from having a topper on the machine, from selling advertising, from exchange rates. And there's multiple ways to generate cash. And I guess it's more your skills and how to see the potential once you have this little piece of hardware occupying a 2x2 in a high traffic area. Another question that I have on my part is, how do you approach partnerships with business owners? I think Ed mentioned something very good. The definition that he did on the very first episode of partnership is how he treats the commissions that he pays to them. That's not how I started the business, but I think it's something that I can implement very well, is grow with them and be with them. I see it as there are some businesses that are cash only places that if they don't have cash, they can't do sales. And I'm here to help generate that sale. If my service is not providing that, I am not being good to the word that I committed to. So our commitment is on partnership is you trust us in accomplishing your sale. We will have the cash and the resources there for your customers to draw money out. So then you will grow and you will generate your revenues that you are going after. What's the next question here? What's some common misconceptions about ATM profitability? There's a couple answers that we can have in regards to that. It's one is, cash, is it going away, or are we not ATM customers ourselves? I am not an ATM customer myself, and the reason I'm not a customer is because I don't use cash as much as other people. And the other part is that I go to the bank quite often, so I have cash in hand in case I need it. But there's an economy out there that is in need of cash. There's the underserved customers, underserved banking customers, that the only way to get cash is through the ATM. So what I like about the industry that we're part of is that we become the financial institution for a lot of people. And they like that and they appreciate that, because if it was not because of that machine that is standing in that convenience store, they will not have an ATM, or they will not have cash. They will not have access to cash. Of course, what we expect in the future is that this little machine will be able to provide more than that. Hopefully they can do bill pay. They can pay their bills. In some of the Mexican stores that we do business, after they pull the cash out, they are talking to the attendant to pay their water bill, their electrical bill, their cell phone bill. And I think the future will take us that they will be able to do all that through this little machine. And then another misconception about the business or the ATM business is that I believe is it still good? Well, I think it's still good. I think there's always a need of cash. I think it all comes down to placement. It all comes down to placement, and I think there's an opportunity for all of us to find placements and to compete and give the better service to a lot of people or a lot of our customers. And it's up to the operator to bring that out. What advice would you give to someone looking to start as an ATM operator? The first advice that I tell everyone, and this is something that anybody that has been around me would has heard this before, is go and find a place. Go and find a place, get a contract signed. Once you have a contract signed, then go and buy the machine. Once you find that location, once you have a document signed, go and buy the machine. And we all know, or if you're not familiar with the business, there's two machines that we mainly use in the retail model. It's either A or B. You either buy one of those, and a lot of us like A, and a lot of other people like B. But from experience, just go and find that location. After you find that location, I offer people different models when they want to get started. I tell them, if you don't want to even use your own cash, just locate that place. We will provide the machine. We will provide the cash, and they will just benefit from it. If they are interested on doing that, we will do it all, and they will get paid a commissions for a finder's fee. If they don't want to put cash on it, we just ask them to buy the machine. If they just want to buy the machine and we put the cash, we will do it all. So then they get a little taste of what it looks like. It's not going to move the needle if you just have one or two machines. It's really going to make a needle once there's a lot of volume on those machines. And I will say it all depends on the goals that you might have. But my goals was to do $150 a month. And once we had 10 machines, we were making $1,100 or $1,500. And then once we reach 100 machines, we're making $15,000. So it all depends on your goals. You have to be realistic and understanding what is capable. What is this business capable of? I think Todd in episode number 2 talked about finding a mentor. I will say that I did not have a mentor, but I do help other people in the industry get started and drive them through that process. And some of them have done very good. Some of them actually has sold their businesses and cashed out to get into another business. So we are available. People that has been in this industry for a while, we help others. I think Ed mentioned the same thing, that he has helped other people ramp up, and I have visited with a lot of operators, and we all have brought people under our wings because we can help each other by them becoming cash loaders, or by them being future providers for other areas that we don't cover. So the main advice would be, go look for a location. Once you have a location, buy the machine, and then we can worry about the logistics after that. I guess that's the order that I like. Other people buy the machine and are motivated by having the machine, and then they go look for the location. I guess I am more of let's get the agreement started. What kind of maintenance or support do you provide? Well, we are full service providers here in Colorado. The only thing that we don't do is that we don't do repairs. Most of our repairs are sent to the manufacturer, and it's easier that way for us. We don't have a large team that takes that care of that. We do a lot of first line maintenance. We do cash loading for other companies, but the main thing, we do processing. The main stuff is that we help customers have cash in their establishments. How do you handle downtime, cash replacement, or technical issues? Well, at this time, we use a software by one of the providers that helps us diagnose and troubleshoot things from afar. And if that doesn't work, the cash loader will go out and do some first line maintenance. Or if it's something that requires immediate assistance, we will get in the phone and talk to the merchant owner, or the merchant store owner, or a store employee, to drive them by on a video call and tell them what to do. A lot of the things can be fixed by just unplugging the machine and plugging them back. If there's a major issue, we will know about that. Trends or new technologies that we see in the ATM business, I think is going to be evolving into receiving more cash. Like I said before, I think people will see that as a teller for people to make payments, for people to send monies to other countries, for people to make deposits from multiple institutions. I think we will see that as we see the consolidation of financial institutions. I think it's going to be a good way for the online bankings to receive cash that they don't have an actually storefront. That's where I see that. How do you navigate compliance on cash heavy environments? Well, that's the part that is hard for us because the banks are limited to the amount of cash that they get on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and if we don't notify them that we will have, let's say, a major event that just came to us, they might not have the cash available for us in order for us to do that event, and that becomes a challenge because without cash we can't we can't do business. So we have to have a good relationship with a financial institution or multiple financial institutions that they will understand our business and to know what are we doing. Like we can get the phone call on today is this recording was on a Sunday. We can get a phone call that there's an event, a major event that is happening on Friday, and the bank might not have enough time to place their cash order. So we have to find different ways to do that, and one of those is to have great relationships with other institutions that will get us that growth and scaling. What's been your biggest challenge in scaling your ATM business? In the beginning, it was time because I was working. I was working 9 to 5, so I will cash load beforehand. My lunch was shoving my food in and then running out to the bank and loading, and then on my way back from work I was loading again. So the challenge becomes your time and your cash, or that was my challenge. Once I was able to mitigate that by getting some cash loaders, and some of the cash loaders will do the installs at the locations where they'll be cash loading, since they see the benefit on, they know that they're going to make good with the business that is being given to them. Another challenge in scaling has been distance, of course, because we are in a metro area, and a metro area it's large enough, but for some other operators, they might have to drive further out to find business. We've been given opportunities in the beginning. We were given opportunities that were outside of our range, and in some cases, it did not make any sense to drive 2 hours, 4 hours round trip just for one location. So that was hard, but now we have better coverage on the entire Colorado and surrounding states and other markets as well. How do we manage operation across multiple locations or states? I think the part that is very beneficial there is that if we know someone, a cash loader that covers that area, covers that zip code, that we know that they are dedicated to that area. That is how I manage that. That's how I manage if I find a location in Oregon, if I find a place in California, that I have connections there, that they do this business and they cover that area, they know the market, and they know what they're doing. So that's how I'm able to tell them Max Cash is going to cover this area, and this is going to do as good as we do in town. So it works out very good. What tools or systems do we help to grow efficiently? I think it's more relationship, and a lot of having those conversations with other providers face to face, shaking hands, and for them knowing that your business is as important as your word is. That's something that I believe very heavily, is that our customers trust us on providing cash, and that's our commitment, and we're going to fill that commitment. How can ATM operators better collaborate with merchants and service providers? Well, the best way to help each other is for us to be available in case we like the opportunity to cash load for other providers, in case we like the opportunity to troubleshoot for other providers, in case they have an installation. There's a lot of that we do, and I think that's the beauty about this business, that the business is very simple, but it's very complex because we have cash in the machines. And so that trust factor becomes an issue. But if we see the collaboration on, hey, I can call somebody in New Orleans and say, hey, Mark, can you install this machine for me? Perfect. And we know what the going rates is, and we have a good idea that what it costs to do that. And if Mark calls me here and to do something in Colorado, we will do the same. We're not going to charge a different rate because in Colorado there is a higher demand. I think it's more of a give and take. So that's a little bit about the experience for Franco and Max Cash ATM. Some of the closing statements that I ask my interviewers, the people that I interview, is, what's one piece of advice you would give to a new ATM operator? I will say, if that machine is producing to the goal that you have set in mind, keep it in there. Keep it in there. If your goal was that you wanted to make $100 on that machine, keep it there. If your goal was to make $200, give it a shot. Give it 6 months, 9 months, an opportunity to get those numbers. Now you will, and like I mentioned before, like what Todd said, if you have a mentor, you can go out to that mentor and ask him, hey, this machine is just making, or it's just doing 7 transactions a month. Is it worth it to stay? The mentor will tell you this is a check cashing business or whatever it is, and the need of cash might not be as good as a need of cash at a barbershop or at a liquor store, or it might be in a neighborhood that is too wealthy that they might not see the need of cash. So that is the big piece of advice that I'll get to new operators. Stick to it. Stick to it. Ask other people that have been in the industry for much longer. We have data. We have data that will be able to understand if the establishment where you want to put the ATM, if it will make sense or not. What does success mean to you beyond profits, and how do you use your platforms to make a difference? Well, the biggest thing for us and our family is our kids. The reason we do this, and the reason we wake up every morning, the reason we work hard, the reason we even do these recordings is we do it for the family. We do it for the family, and knowing that the legacy that we will leave them is not about monies or pennies. It's more about them understanding that you have to work hard in order to achieve the things that you want to get. And those things can be from a good night's sleep to be able to do better things for your last name, or for the people that come behind you. So I appreciate you guys listening to us. I appreciate you guys giving the opportunity for us to educate you in one way or form. If you guys have any questions or any concerns, or if you want to be part of the show, send us a note. You can email me at sales@mcatm.com. You can call 303-587-7459. And if you need any help, or if you want to connect with somebody in your market, let me know as well. We have connections pretty much in a lot of the 50 states. If you want to get started in the business, let us know. If you just want to get a better understanding, just let us know. We are here to help, and just post a question. Thank you again. And if I was not very clear, just send us a question.